It's your boy back again. Diehardfan, the people's coach. Sorry, I've been in a little hurry. I'm in a rush, running. Started the show a little late tonight, but anyway, it's still going down. Um, and I'm gonna jump right in. First, I'm gonna say thanks to Sports for America with this whole live broadcasting thing. Uh, so today, I want to start off with the hoopla about the inexperience of Herschel Walker being a senator. Um, Athletes to ever come out of the state of Georgia. Herschel was premier, and bear with me. Like I said, I was in a rush. Well, like I was saying, Herschel is one of the best. I would Wi-Fi in these hotels, nice hotel. Just shady Wi-Fi. Man, hopefully we can get through this show. This Wi-Fi, deep in Rock Wall, or the outskirts of Dallas, um, just made it. I think. Sorry about that. Hopefully the Wi-Fi sticks this time. Um, so, as I was saying, Herschel Walker, the best out of Georgia, pure athlete, USFL, and something. I know a lot of people said that he was just a political. Anyway, congratulations to him for even stepping up to the plate and want to do politics. Um, Lots of interesting stuff been going on. Uh, jump to the NFL real quick. Baker Mayfield gets another shot. Come on, man. Uh, um, I guess when you feel as far as the first overall pick, you continue to get those shots. You continue to get those looks. Um, don't know why that is, but I guess it's just how it is sometimes. Now he's with the 49ers. I mean, I'm not knocking him at hustle. Go out there and get it. And they saying that he could probably play tomorrow, which would be interesting if he did play tomorrow. And in other news, the Knicks are beating up on the Hawks right now, or they got a lead, a 9 point lead while the game going on. ESPN. Um, anyway, Trey Young. I heard an interview about Trey Young today. Go back to the thing a little bit later, but really get it off my chest as far as the Trey Young thing. Saw an interview, and this guy said that uh, rather than having the ball, he'd rather pass and all that. But where is that at? Because he's shooting horrible. I told y'all that already, that the Hawks would be way better than what they are. Right now, currently fourth in the East at 13 and 11. That's not saying much. That's saying that the whole East is, the league has been up and down right now with all that injuries and all that. You got to start putting the ball in the hole more regularly. I mean, he just doesn't do it for me. I mean, he's exciting to watch. Got a lot of skills, but you know, just doesn't hit. He's just not efficient enough for my liking. Maybe I've been spoiled to see the likes of Steph Curry and the Kobe's and all that, and even the LeBrons who put the ball in the basket. May not shoot that well from three. Some of them, other than Steph, of those I mentioned, but they can still put the ball in the bucket. And it seems like Trey just doesn't do it for me, man. He take too many wild shots, and I think that's the problem. There's been rumors that him and Nate McMillan having problems, and the problem probably is that Trey Young don't put the ball in the basket, man. You gotta put the ball in the basket, young bro. Um, that's what it's about. It's basketball. Shoot better. I'm hearing it's his worst numbers. How can you be worse than what he was last season? I mean, I'm just saying, um, get better. Anyway, moving on from that. Um, Looking at all the, it's so many interesting stories. Brady with the comeback. So, everybody like, oh, Tom Brady bringing his team back, man. Brady and the Bucs, they scare me as a diehard Cowboy fan. Because playoffs will start win their division as the number 4 seed, and even though they got a 500 record, it's scary because of that element that you saw on Monday night. For those that saw the game on Monday night, that defense can get a couple of stops, and Brady can do the Tom Brady thing and break your heart at the end of the game with 3 seconds left. Those are the kind of things that he's made his name on. That's his bread and butter, beating you behind a decent defense, a bend but don't break defense, and that scares me as a Cowboy. And plus, they got our number. They beat us last year. They beat us the first game of the year. And remember, we probably the only team that lost to the Bucs that got beat down. Like, it wasn't even close. Remember, first game of the season, we got beat down, and that was with Dak. So, yeah, that's kind of scary. Hopefully, we can make some moves and get out of that fifth spot. Maybe we could, leapfrog the Eagles or something. I mean, I don't see that happening either right now, the way the Eagles are playing. But I just keep thinking we got a chance to do something. Like, everybody on this Cowboy Super Bowls train, and I will raise up, because that makes me even more nervous, and it sets us up for disappointment. Throughout history has proven that the Cowboys don't have a problem with drinking that Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? We're drinking that Kool-Aid. And the other thing, it's the next man up in San Francisco right now, right? The San Francisco 49ers, they keep calling the man Mr. Irrelevant. But, Purdy, man, Brock Purdy, out of Iowa State, get his start, man, get his chance to prove himself in the game. Or you never know. Jimmy G might not get the job back. Trey Lance might not get the job back if this young man excels. I mean, who knows what they have planned? But all the speculation is, they're going to just keep running the same offense, so that he doesn't lose the game. They're not going to put, Shanahan's not going to put him in position. Man, you don't know what Shanahan got planned. This man may be intelligent enough, sophisticated enough to do some other things that I'm sure Kyle Shanahan wanted to do with Trey Lance, but he felt he can't do with Garoppolo. He may be able to do them with this young man. I mean, we just have to see how everything pans. We have to wait and see how everything pans out. I think the most interesting thing to me, though, is how I was talking that noise about San Fran, and now I'm eating crow. I gotta eat crow. I said that they weren't that good, but it looks like they really good because of what they're doing right now. Um, they run in the league right now. They dominate, and what they did to Miami was impressive, very impressive. But who knows? Maybe that's the break that everybody needed because it looked like that defense is strong. That defense ain't giving up many points. So you got to fight your way in against San Fran, and hopefully you can get them to make a couple of mistakes. I truly believe in the playoffs. That's what it always comes down to stuff like that. The team that makes the most mistakes typically doesn't win, unless you're the Cincinnati Bengals. Then you find a way to win despite all your flaws. Which I want to mention this about my Cowboys. Even though we put up 50 some points, what I don't like is Dak is becoming just like the Kirk Cousins, just like some of these other quarterbacks who always seem to, he throwing an interception or two a game. I mean, you always get another team a chance, and your defense keep picking you up. We can't have that going into this December. We got to get rid of that. Early on maybe, but it's getting too late for that. And I know Dak missed some games, and it was a little rust here and there, but no excuses. It's like Dak got to stop doing that because in the playoffs, you might not be able to bounce back. Defense might not be able to stop the other team. I mean, things happen, or you might put them in a position to where it's just too easy, or pick sixes and stuff. Man, stop throwing the ball to the other team. Dak, stop it. Other than that, I like what CD Lamb is doing. I didn't think that. I thought Michael Gallup would come back and be that number one, but it seemed like CD Lamb got something to prove. And maybe, have you noticed that he really picked up his game? He been playing well most of the season, but he's really been picking up his game. Or to me, it seemed like he's been picking up his game since all the talk about Odell Beckham, which I'm so sick of hearing about Odell Beckham. I'm tired. Pick a team already, or don't. I hear you, for what they've been talking about, and then the guy ain't even ready. So why are we talking about this guy if he ain't even ready to hit the field? It's just a waste of energy, waste of time. It seems like all that hype and teams, courting him, but he not even ready to play. So it's like, you know, um, and Aaron Judge, man, he stayed a Yankee. Uh, you know, 9 year deal. That's a long deal. He'll be darn near 40 by the time that deal up. And hopefully the Yankees get a few World Series out of it. I do agree with those critics that said that that's okay, but where the pitching at? I do think that we need better pitchers or pitchers that are healthy that can stop other teams' bats. I mean, we looked awful against the Astros when we couldn't bat, and they could. Pitching is going to be something that we got to look at, but I'm glad for Aaron Judge, 360 mil. I thought he's going to get more than that. Remember, I said he's going to get like half a billion or something, but 360 mil for 9 years, 40 million a year. That's not bad. Hats off to Aaron Judge. And like I said, hopefully that'll lead to some championships. Um, and before I get into the NFL real deep, I want to say this about the NCAA men and the NCAA women college basketball. Um, it's a lot of good players. So far, it's already been topsy turvy. North Carolina dropped all the way out, coming in as the number one, faded. Houston got the number one spot. It seemed like they're holding it down. Um, but stuff to look at this year. Don't sleep on Kentucky. Kentucky gonna be that dark horse. Nobody's really paying too much attention to Kentucky, but if they get in the tournament, when the tournament starts, mark my words, Kentucky will be around. I'm saying Elite Eight or bust or something. They're gonna probably be more than that. Um, just watch out for Kentucky. And remember, you heard it here first on the Diehard Fan. It's the Diehard Fan Show with the People's Coach Cornelius Cole, and thanks to Sports for America. Also, check out Nerd Focus. Get your brain right and your game tight with the Nerd Focus energy drink. Um, Also, I want to say, check me out on Stimulate Your Mind, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, Tuesdays, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Central. Talk radio. I get to talk about all random topics. Um, it's a beautiful thing to have. WDRB Media. Got to give them a shout for putting me on. Check them out. Like I said, WDRB Media on iHeart, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, every Tuesday. Um, so in my travels, meeting a lot of people and seeing a lot of fans, like I just came from the Columbus, Ohio area, and um, impressive how it's so many Buckeye fans. Um, I know I'm in the Ohio State. I'm in their backyard or whatever, but I was in their backyard or whatever. But just to see so many people, big up to the women that are huge football fans, college and professional. For a while you didn't see much of that, but now it's so much of it. It's so rampant. It's a beautiful thing to see, to be able, fellas, just sitting with your lady and you can talk football. Y'all can root for it with each other or root against each other. There's some beautiful things when you can talk sports. The things that you love, with your loved ones and stuff like that. So shout out to the women. Shout out to the women um, that love sports. For a while it was something that, oh, that's what men love, and it's like you still get some of that, but no. So in these days and times, it's a beautiful thing to see, and I'm looking for more women in sports, as far as more referees, more office roles, more coaching roles, and not just the NBA, but also like the NFL and stuff like that. Which, speaking of that, the Titans fired a GM, and this late in the season, he must have really ticked the owner off to get fired at this point. What do you have to do to get fired at this point? Must have been a heated discussion, and you must have didn't like what you heard or something. I mean, I'm just speculating over here, but I'm just saying. I mean, it's an interesting thing to me that you get fired this at this particular point in the season as a GM. Must have other plans, must want to go a different direction with the team. And I wonder, does that put Vrabel in jeopardy? With the GM being gone, does that put Mike Vrabel in jeopardy? Is his job going to be on the line if Tennessee does take it to us, or if his system or whatever happened? Saying that we went in different directions, it's a little bit more than that to it, and everybody knows it is. But you can only go off what they tell you. You can only go off what they tell you. Now, the NCAA women is something I want to talk about briefly here. As far as like I said, I like the Connecticut Huskies, and that I live Boston is balling. But Notre Dame seems to have UConn's number. But now UConn, we're gonna see how Gino Aurier coaches now. That both of his two stars are hurt. Paige Beckers is out, and now Easy Fudd, no relation to Elmer, but Fudd is out now too. So I wonder how that's going to affect the UConn program this year, as far as making it into the tournament and staying afloat and doing some things. They normally Final Four or bust or something, but I know. So it's gonna be something interesting to watch. The other thing gonna be interesting to watch is I know South Carolina is on top, but watch out for the NC States and watch out for Stanford. I mean, those teams are playing some ball. Them girls can ball, man. If y'all ain't been checking them out, y'all should check them out. Them girls can ball. I mean, excuse me, them young ladies can ball. The women can ball, man. They got some ball in their blood. Ball, I'm talking about ball in a minute. Is she is she like the Cheryl Swoops of the modern day, the Cynthia Cooper of the modern day, uh, uh, the Cheryl Miller of the modern day? I mean, she's impressive. She does everything too: points, rebounds, assists, blocks. I mean, she just does everything, and she makes her team better. She makes her teammates better. She's like LeBron in his prime, where you make everybody around you better, from those that can ball from the ballers to the scrubs. I mean, so something to watch. She's really impressive if you haven't seen her play. She was impressive in the tournament. I know she suffered a little injury, but she still got that ball and she's still doing her thing. Um, so NBA talk, same old, same old. So every time it seemed like something going good, like the Lakers have climbed out of the hole a little bit with on the back of Anthony Davis. And I told y'all that, remember that if you listen to me, I told you if Anthony Davis is healthy, he's a dangerous guy. He's one of the better players in the league, and a lot of people sleep on that. Probably the best big man in the league when he's healthy, because he has the agility, the athleticism, and the shot. And sometimes it doesn't seem like he's as confident. Maybe it's because of injuries or something, and he work his way back into shape. But if that young man can stay on the court, he'll be dangerous, and the Lakers could probably do some things despite shooting, despite whatever else that's going on. And Darvingham hanging in, they still below 500. So it's nothing to really be too thrilled about. But you can see that they trying to make a push, and that you should be leery if they come in as an 8 seed, then the 1 seed might be in trouble. They come in as a 2 seed, might be in trouble. You just never know. Messing around. If AD is playing at the top of his game, you seen when he played at the top of his game, then it propelled LA to a championship. Even though it was in a bubble, it propelled him to a championship. So that's something to look out for. He missed the game last night with the flu, or whatever. But hey, things happen, but that's not like an injury. So hopefully he'll take the stretch runs and stuff like that. And speaking of stretch runs, when the Knicks gonna put it all together? Now Thibodeau, I'm a fan of Thibodeau. He used to coach up in Minnesota when I lived up in Minnesota. So Thibodeau, he was a pretty good coach and seemed like a pretty good motivator. But why he can't get the Knicks motivated to be better than what they are, than what their record is? It seems like they got a lot of talent for them not to be handling business. You know how I feel about Julius Randle. I think he's a part of the problem. But now he's come back down to earth a little bit, and he's starting to play within his lane instead of trying to be the superstar. RJ Barrett that upped his game. I mean, with all that said, Thibodeau normally has good defensive teams, but it seems like they struggle. But they struggle shooting. They struggle at times. Nobody's seeing like they win a bucket. Who's gonna get the bucket? When the pressure's on for the Knicks, and those are the questions to ask. Do they have a Tatum or Brown, somebody that can get a bucket? Do they have a Devin Booker? Do they have somebody you can lean on to get a bucket? You just don't know um, um, what's going to happen with Knicks, but it's sad. Like the Knicks, when the Patrick Ewing led Knicks used to be one of my favorite teams. You know what I'm saying? It used to be one of the favorite things to watch because they went at it. They were physical, that's good. Not good enough to win it all, but they were good to put pressure on you. So if you did beat them, then you really did something. I mean, you went to war on the court with those guys. You actually had to come to play. And it's not really, it's not really up to debate for me, other than a championship era, which I wasn't even born when the Knicks won championship. So I could, the New York Knicks basketball, the Carmelo Anthony era wasn't that great, and the times, the post Carmelo era is not that good. I mean, the Knicks making the playoffs like one time or something, man, like where's the consistency? Where's that being there? Are they ever going to get back to that? That's my question for San Antonio. Now, San Antonio is different. Popovich look like he might be done because these players leave from San Antonio and they go ball out of control. Like DeMar DeRozan was doing this thing a little bit in San Antonio, but he wasn't doing what he's doing right now, man. Like for the Chicago Bulls, and the same thing with uh for the Hawks. I mean, the guy can ball. It's like it might be time for when is it time for people like Popovich to sit it down? You definitely miss those. Definitely thing special going on in San Antonio. So I'm just saying, is it time for Popovich to step out the way and San Antonio to go a different direction? I know loyalty is everything, but sometimes I think here's my thing: when you have guys that are great. And I consider Popovich great. I consider him up there with like the Bill Belichick's, the Don Shula's, the Phil Jacksons and stuff like that. I put him up there with the Pat Riley's in that category. But when you have these kind of coaches, and do they ever stay too long? It seems like both Bill Belichick and Popovich are staying too long in their respective sports. And I'm saying that because it doesn't seem like they communicating well with the young people, with the young players, with the younger generation, with the next generation. They don't seem like they connecting with um, Gen Z or whatever, or even some of the millennials. It seems like it's a lot of problems communicating that. When is it too old? And Belichick is like he could smile every once in a while and change things up. I mean, that tough man stuff is played out in 2022. He got to lighten up. So I mean, the man always frowning. He never look happy. It's like yo, and he never really want to. I mean, answer questions. I mean, it gets so old. I've said this before that like man, answer some questions sometimes, and lighten up a little bit. Um, he's one of those guys. It's hard to tell when he joking or whatever because he always round up. He just always mugging, man. Mugging the reporters. If I was a reporter, I wouldn't even want to interview Bill Belichick. I mean, because it just seemed like, man, I'm not saying it's intimidating or anything, but it's like, man, I'm so tired of looking at you, that frowned up mug, man. Won't you ever smile? Say something nice about your players every once in a while. You know, uh, so technical and so rigid, and I'm sure these young people are more loose than that, man. They want a gritty, they want to score touchdowns, they want a gritty, they want to do all the stuff that's popping in today's times, and I think that holds him back. Now Popovich, on the other hand, it just seemed like he going through the motions right now. Um, it's like it just doesn't seem like Popovich is that. If you've seen Sanio play this year and watch him on the sideline, it doesn't seem like the same Popovich that always had that commanding presence. The team seemed to respond to the way that used to San Antonio's team executing, used to the execution, and used to them playing team defense. These boys don't play no defense. Them young men don't play no D. It's like that's why they getting beat. It ain't that they can't put the ball in the hole and make the games interesting. It's they can't stop nobody. I mean, it don't even look like they trying to stop teams. Maybe they tanking. I mean, but I can't see a Popovich tanking. But in these days and times, it wouldn't put it past me that if guys are tanking, because you get that a lot more so in basketball, the tanking. And it's not a shock, especially when they got some good prospects coming down the pike, and everybody want those. So it's an element, but I can't believe I'm saying it about San Antonio. I mean, 20 something years, 21, 22 years straight in the playoffs. I mean, your run got to stop at some point, and you got to re up. But to be that awful, to start off looking pretty good, but then to turn out to be that awful, I don't know. For me, it just doesn't. It just doesn't pan out. It just doesn't make sense. Um, and it's not a good look for Popovich. I think sometimes you stay too long, you ruin your legacy. Same thing, like I said, with the Bill Belichick. Seems like he ruining his legacy a little bit right now. Um, it just seems like he's chasing Tom Brady, trying to get that ring. We know what Bill doing. He wanna get another ring. Because I did it without Tom. I mean, I totally get it. I understand it. Maybe that's what Popovich doing too, but it don't look like that's what Popovich doing. It look like the San Antonio Spurs, man, they look years off from ever competing. I mean, that's just my observation. And then you can't really get a big name star to want to go to San Antonio and play. I never understood that neither. But um, they stand away from it. Looking at other stuff, Kawhi and Paul George trying to work their way back into the lineup. I've said it before, but that's a duo that we thought was supposed to be special. We thought was supposed to be great, and we thought was supposed to be running things. So, maybe they'll get it popping at some point. Maybe they'll be on top of the game. Um, maybe they'll show us what everybody's been waiting for. But who knows? Injuries are all have been a plague on the season once again, and then players that's not playing. I heard rumors, Golden State gonna have a game where where Draymond, Steph, and Clay sitting on the bench again. I mean, who wants to see that? Like, come on, man! I want to see the creme de la creme. I mean, you're not that old, Steve Kerr. Um, they not Tim Duncan, them old man. Come on, man. Um, and what is it with these young players? Like some play tremendous amounts of minutes, and some minutes have been limited. I've already told y'all I like what Donovan Mitchell's doing in Cleveland. I didn't expect it, but we'll see in the long run. Right now, we know it's really Boston dominating, and the Bucs better step up before they blink and they be left in the dust because Boston look like they bringing it every night. Boston already look like they in championship form. Everybody else just trying to play catch up and work their way into it. The Grizzlies, they look all right, but they up and down. I was saying that last week, the Western Conference is up and down. But I guess the highlight for me right now, um, is besides Doncic is also uh, um, just the Joker doing his thing again. Now let's talk about the Joker. The Joker, Jokic ain't taking that team nowhere. Nowhere. They haven't went anywhere, and it doesn't appear that they're going to get anywhere. I mean, for real, two-time MVP, all that stuff, man. You can miss me with that because a lot of times it's politics come into that, and this guy. Uh, I think when they were in the bubble, they were what Eastern Conference Finals or something, and I mean Western Conference Finals, excuse me. And but that was the bubble. Now that they return to the real world, like they could barely, are they going, ever get past the first round, the second round? And it's always, oh, Jamal Murray, man, look, Jamal Murray been hurt for 2 years. I think that's a coaching. I think that's an organizational fault. Having now how to be guy at this point and how to win consistently without this guy when it counts, when it means the most. I mean, by now, other players, you got to have players that step up. Get the right personnel that's going to step up, the right personnel that fit. And I know that's easier said than done a lot of times. But what does it take to find the personnel that fit? Let's see. You see the way Jokic plays. Now put people around him that can play off that. I watch, I'm a home, my hometown, Houston, watched for years them trying different combinations to put around Hakeem Dream, and then they finally got it right, like with Kenny Smith and the Junkyard Dog, Mario Ellie, Robert Ory, Sam Cassell, those guys, man, they finally had found something and they got it right. And then they brought Clyde in for the second run. But I'm just saying, the core people, they put the right people around them finally. It took years to do that, like early on it was the Twin Towers, him and Ralph Sampson, and that turned out to get them to a championship, but they couldn't win a championship. Like Hakeem could take you there by himself, but he did that a couple of times, and he wasn't able to win. Uh, you know, uh, but he was able to win when they put the right pieces around. And like the Celtics, they seem like they have the best chemistry, but those guys have played together quite a few years now. Like it's not just like the bulk of that team has played together a while, but the addition of Brogdon seems like, see, adding pieces that complement the pieces. I think the Bucks have that when they full strength. I think they play well together, understanding how to play off Giannis. You gotta if you got a superstars, you gotta learn how to play off them. And sometimes it's about the mentality of the players to make those adjustments. I don't think the Atlanta Hawks totally understand that because Trey Young wants to be this star. He don't want to really share. He don't really want to admit that, but you know if they can come together and spread the ball around, but sometimes it's about communicating that as a coach, and if coaches can't communicate that, then you know what's going to happen. Coach out of there, get them gone. Um, it's always those dynamics, though. That it's so much that goes into it beyond the X's and O's, beyond just shooting the basketball. It's like, what are you trying to accomplish? And sometimes I don't think that these coaches I don't like I was saying about Popovich and Belichick. It's more coaches out there that I don't think they adjust uh, to the temperature in the room, or I don't think they adjust to what their teams do a lot of times, or what their teams are good at, or the young mentalities. I think that's a problem with coaching nowadays. The disconnect with some of these older coaches, and when you look at what Doc Rivers is different, he just can't get it done. I would have liked to have seen Doc get another ring, but he just can't get it done. It seemed like Doc was satisfied with winning the one and living off that reputation because he some of the coaching things. Well, I already told y'all that I fell out of love with the whole Doc Rivers thing when he threw the young man Ben Simmons under the bus. Let's not go back there, but let's just keep it current on the Philadelphia 76ers right now, who barely afloat right there around the 500 cusp, not really doing too much, depending heavily on Joel Embiid. Harden don't seem like he got, but man, it's time to figure some things out. I know Maxi's hurt, but even when those guys was healthy, they weren't winning games. Even when those guys were playing together, they weren't winning games. They weren't winning. And the problem is, it just doesn't seem like it just doesn't seem like Doc knows how to manage the teams, man. It just seemed like he did that with the Clippers. He could never get them past a certain point because it's like understanding the personnel, putting the right group out there, and it's like, man, if you got to sit hard in that stretches, you know, in order to make the team work, then that's what you got to do. I mean, I would go more of that. I would go more Embiid first team, Harden play longer stretches with the second team or something, man. And see if that worked. I would try to jumpstart the team. I mean, because here's my thing: the Philadelphia 76ers have too much talent. And they're not gonna make the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't even know if they're gonna make it out of the first round. They might be a one and done. They might be beat in the first round. I mean, they might not even make it to the semifinals. I mean, my feelings about Joel Embiid are the same. I think that once he starts being more serious about ball and come to ball all the time, plus injuries, he's always hurt when it counts the most. He's hurt a lot. And that's been a plague, like that's what plagued Chris Paul. Like my only knock ever against Chris Paul is that he's never healthy when they need him. He's never been, so that makes him unreliable. I mean, guy is a terrific point guard, one of the best to ever do it, especially being a smaller guard, but he's just never healthy. And I'm starting to see Embiid have that same problem. Uh, just just never healthy, never around, never healthy enough to make a real push. But Doc got to figure out how to make the other guys play. And I'm not a Philadelphia 76er fan, but I would be asking the question, why is Tobias Harris still on his team? I mean, this guy, he'll have a good game, then he'll ghost on you 5 or 6 games straight, then he'll have a good game. It's like, yo, I need you to be more consistent than that, Tobias. I mean, for real. It's like all the years that he's been there playing with Embiid, he still hasn't found. Um, he's played with Embiid a while now, and he hasn't found his stride within that team. I mean, and I think that goes back to, I think that goes back to Doc Rivers. I think it goes back to the coach. It goes back to the coaches, man. It's like, hey, you know, uh, guy got to step up a little bit more. I mean, Tobias Harris, to me, I think he would be a better fit over there with a Jimmy Butler in Miami or somewhere. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I think he would be somewhere better off with, you know, with somebody with that dog mentality that John Morant speaks about. That dog. I think Jimmy Butler has that dog mentality. I think he'll fit right in. I think that Spoelstra would know how to get the most out of Tobias Harris. Uh, that would be something that they were doing a midseason trade. If I was doing a midseason trade, I would look into that trade. I would trade Tobias Harris. When you say who on the Miami Heat would you trade for? I mean, but Tobias Harris on the Heat, I think that'll be a good look for him. I think it's better than him in Philly. It's like they can't get the most, they can't maximize that potential, and I think Eric Spoelstra. Uh, who I think is a little bit better coach than Doc Rivers. I think he can maximize, but like I said, I think it'll be a better fit. The pieces, when the pieces don't fit, you gotta do something different. And it's a lot of teams right now where the pieces don't fit. Um, that's what I see early on in the NBA season. I know that you say, oh, it's got to take a while for team chemistry, but some players can come together and play right off the rip together. And some players, it's like watching this game, this Atlanta Hawk game. I know DeJounte Murray got hurt this game or whatever, but uh, Trey Young shot him into another hole, man. He just shoots you into a hole. It's like if I'm on Trey Young team, I like pass the ball, bro. I'm like, bro, play team ball sometimes. It's like stop shooting the ball all the time. That's my thing right there. Like watching this game, a 20 point blowout in the fourth quarter right now, and it's like guy just does the same thing over and over. Now he's not even on the court right now, but yeah, it's crazy to watch the dynamic. It's like, hey, it's a team sport. Share the rock, and that's what I want to see about the Clippers. I'm anxious to see John Wall. Um, I have yet to see them play with my own eyes yet because they haven't been all that healthy. But I want to see the John Wall, Paul George, and Leonard combination. I want to see what they bring to it. Zubac seems like he's ready to take the next step. Terrence Mann is a beast. I mean, I think the Clippers have a lot on it. I just want to see it all together on the court. And notice I'm not talking about Minnesota or or the OKC Thunder, Northern Utah Jazz this week, because those teams are going to fall. As things get tougher, they're going to fall by the wayside as other teams start to pick up their game, and you won't hear much of them. I know I highlighted the Sacramento Kings last week, but they played great. They play great ball now. Um, but another shout out to Nerd Focus. Get your brain right and your game tight with the Nerd Focus Energy Drink. Uh, Check that out. Uh, and also another shout for my other show, the Stimulate Your Mind show. You can catch me out. You can catch me every Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, uh, chopping it up about random topics. Now, before I get into the NFL and my picks and all that stuff, all that jazz. When it comes to the best in the NFL right now, um, all of the experts are high on the Cowboys, and some are saying that, the Eagles and the 49ers and the Chiefs and the Bills. I'm telling you right now, people, the sleeper team is the Tampa Bay Bucks. They're going to be in the playoffs, like it or not, and you can never sleep on the GOAT. You're gonna have to beat the GOAT. If the game is close, the GOAT is gonna beat you. Remember, I said that right here, right now. And even though I'm probably cursing my own team, the Dallas Cowboys, but if the game, but Dallas, we better go to Tampa Bay. We better go in there and just handle business. If it's us that ends up drawing that straw, if not, then you're gonna be talking about, wow, how did Brady do it again? I mean, for real, like, do not sleep. They look like they are a pitiful team, but if that defense keeps doing what they're doing and keep them in games enough, and the score is close, this guy's going to beat you in the end, and that's what they can rely on. Um, and not too many teams have that right now. When you look at it from quarterback position or whatever, not too many teams have that. And I want to say the other most impressive thing to me right now is, where did the Bengals come from? All of a sudden, the Bengals got it together, and now they looking tough. They went and got that win against Kansas City, which is cool because it seemed like they got Kansas City number. But don't sleep, man. Them games been too close to say that Kansas City can't beat them. It's just been the luck of the draw, and it's just been a mistake here, or there by Patrick Mahomes of all people. Like, the losses that I've seen the Bengals have, it's been Patrick Mahomes trying to show off. When he goes back to just picking teams apart, then they'll win. Excuse me, but um, the NFL, it's been so much interesting stuff. Lamar Jackson hurt again. Um, that's becoming a theme. He was hurt last year, missed games. He's missing more games now potentially, and Huntley gets a chance to do his thing again. Um, but you don't see the Ravens going anywhere if Huntley is the guy, because they tend, even though he can run a little bit similar to Lamar Jackson, but they tend to play timid when he's in there, even though they got to win. And this is what I want to say. How sorry are the Denver Broncos? When the last time the Broncos scored a touchdown? Oh, excuse me. When's the last time they scored a touchdown? Um, they got to score. They got to play better. Yes, they have to play way better. Um, I'm gonna get into my picks because this hotel is starting to get noisy. So I'm gonna get into my picks here and get ready to wrap this up. But I thank y'all for rocking out and hanging out with me um, while I talk sports. Also, um, hats off to the U.S. men's soccer team. If I didn't say it before, didn't advance, but and look how they trying to do Ronaldo, man. But the young man they played in his place did clown though. He did act a fool. He did pull off the hat trick, but people want to see Ronaldo. You heard the crowd response, man. The crowd was going crazy. Which I want to say this about my Dallas fans. Speaking of crowd going crazy, crowds going crazy at the Mavericks game. All that noise for OBJ, man. Get off the gas. We don't need that guy, and I don't think it's going to help, especially this season. I mean, it's not going to help. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. let's just keep it rolling. I think he's a talent, but what good is he? You don't know if that knee gonna hold up, man. Like, you know, and I'm sick of hearing about him. Now, the games for tomorrow, the Raiders and the Rams. And how about that? More crow to have to eat. The Raiders. They've been playing better ball ever since it seemed like crying. It seemed like Derek Carr's tears, you know, must have been like a source of inspiration for his team. Well, excuse me. I still stand behind the coach. They should not have that coach. I still stand behind. They should not have that coach. Um, but they should um, rally around. I think the players. I think that whole players. The players are doing what they're doing, man. It's the players. It's not the coach. They've decided to rally around each other, and the players are playing. I like that. But anyway, tomorrow night game, the Raiders and the Rams. I'm going with the Raiders in that game because the Rams are. I don't know who's gonna be their quarterback. Like Baker gonna step off the plane and quarterback for them. Bryce Perkins or whatever. So I see the Raiders winning that game. The Vikings and the Lions, which would be four in a row for the Raiders, by the way. But look at what their formula is: run the ball and throw it to Devontae Adams. That's it. It's easy. It's not so easy to stop, evidently, but hey, it's working. Vikings and Lions. Of course, I'm gonna take the Vikings in that, and I say the Vikings gonna win by a field goal or something. Um, um, the Ravens and Steelers, which I was wrong about the Lions last week, and the Lions went out there and won. I gotta give them their props for that. But the Ravens and the Steelers, um, I'm gonna take the Steelers in that game. And I'm only going to take the Steelers in that game because they tend to play the Ravens hard, and Pickett can probably, he can earn his bones by beating that. That's a rivalry, so he can probably win that AFC North rivalry game. That'll be dope if he does that. If the rookie goes and gets that win, and then the Browns and the Bengals, the Browns and the Bengals. Um, I'm gonna go Bengals in that game, even though the Bengals can't seem to beat the Browns. The Browns seem to have a number, in the head-to-head matchups, but I'm taking the Bengals. Um, the Jets and the Bills, I'm going Bills. Texans and Cowboys. Well, let me back up. The Jets and the Bills, I'm going the Bills, but I think Mike White is going to play. He's going to play his behind off, but it's not going to be enough against the Bills. The Bills look like they ran in the form, even without Von Miller. Um, I think they're just a better team, and I think that they got a lot to prove right now. They can't lose another divisional game. So for the Bills, this is like a playoff game, and I don't think the Jets ready for that smoke. And then the Texans and the Cowboys, my home state, my favorite team against my hometown team. I'm taking the Cowboys, and that one. Enough said about that. Um, the Texans last week I watched them. It seemed like they did everything possible to get that game to the Cleveland Browns. It was like they were trying to lose the game, but it was like they just did everything under the sun to make sure that the Browns won that game. Which Deshaun Watson wasn't there. He was rusty. He hadn't played in a long almost 2 years, so you expected the rest. But come on, the Cleveland Brown defense was all of a sudden spectacular, and they haven't been spectacular all year. Now, uh, the Eagles and the Giants. Hmm, I know the Eagles are probably going to win that game, but I'm still going to go against my gut and take the Giants. I'm going to say the Giants going to bounce back from a tie at the time with the Commanders. They're going to come out and they're going to find a way to beat the Eagles. The Jaguars and the Titans. I'm going to take Tennessee in that. Tennessee was disappointing against the Eagles. They got thrashed. But I think they got enough to beat the Jaguars. They're right the ship against the Jaguars. um, and which was impressive, right? Like Philly put on a show against the Tennessee Titans. Um, the Chiefs and the Broncos. I'm gonna go Chiefs, of course. I mean, the Broncos. When the last time they scored a touchdown? Now they'll probably score against Kansas City because in rivalry games you always step it up a little bit, but uh, it's still going to be a thrashing. Uh, Panthers, Seahawks. The Panthers and the Seahawks. Um, I'm going to go Seahawks. Geno Smith. They need that win. They should be able to handle the Panthers, but stranger things have happened. The Buccaneers 49ers. Now, I hope I get to watch that game. I hope that's America's game of the week. Some way I need to watch this game, the Buccaneers and the 49ers. The 49ers did a good job of shutting down Miami, but I think it's going to be a low scoring game. And if Brady gets the ball in the end, I want to see him pull that same thing that he pulled on the Saints against a great defense like the 49ers. But uh, with that being said, I'm taking the Bucs only because I like their quarterback better than I know Brock Purdy. Even though the rookie might surprise, like I said. So the Dolphins and the Chargers. The Dolphins and the Chargers. Um, I'm gonna take the Dolphins. I'm gonna say they're gonna bounce back against the Chargers, and it won't even be close. Um, and finally, on Monday night, the Patriots and the Cardinals. I'm taking the I'm taking the Patriots in that game. Uh, they'll get to 76. Uh, make it interesting coming down the stretch for teams trying to make the playoffs. Which, by the way, if the Dolphins win that game against the Chargers, that's gonna pretty much hurt the Chargers' chances of making the postseason tremendously. So those, like a few of those games. Um, but that's the main one. But and the same thing with the Eagles and the Giants, right? If the Giants lose this game, then it's going to, then that drops them back into the pack. And they had separated themselves for a little bit, but that's why I say that the Giants. That's a playoff game for the Giants. The Bills and Jets. Like I said, it's a playoff game for the Bills. I hope the Jets are prepared for that because they both pretty much fighting for their playoff lives. Um, and that's pretty much yeah, and the Patriots are doing the same, so I think that's why the Patriots will beat the Cardinals. Um, the Chargers, they better bring it. They better play like they playing for the playoffs because if they lose against the Dolphins, it's over. But I'm taking the Dolphins, and the thing that I really want to mention is, uh, I guess these days, people when people root for who they root for, sometimes it is what it is, right? Like guy had a bad game. Tua didn't play all that great, 18 for 33, but all of a sudden nothing was wrong with the way he played, according to some experts. But I think that pressure got to him. The San Francisco 49ers put that pressure on him, man. They was coming at him. Not too many quarterbacks can withstand any quarterback when you put some pressure on them. They throw the ball a little bit earlier. Speaking of pressure, that's what happened to Matt Ryan, right? In that fourth quarter of that game, he just got nervous and he was throwing the ball to the other team quite a bit and making mistakes. But the implosion of the Colts made my Cowboys look tremendous. And if you can get other teams to do that, that's called doing what you're supposed to do when you make the quarterback of the other team as nervous as that or scared like he was. He wasn't gun shy. He was quick on the trigger, trying to get rid of that thing. He didn't want to take too many of them hits. He didn't want no sack fumbles and things like that. No strip sacks and stuff like that. So you know and that game turned on a dime. It was close, and it was uh, about to be embarrassing for a while because it was like, oh, here we go again. We're gonna struggle against this team, and then we pulled it off. So I want to just say, man, hopefully my Dallas Cowboys will bring that same intensity every single week. Bring the energy every week. Stop struggling against scrub teams. Stop. And Dak, stop turning the ball over. I'm gonna say that again. Stop turning the ball over. Stop turning the ball over. Um, you know, and if I could send a message to Patrick Mahomes, um, it's so deflating. I get it. You're gonna try different things here and there. It's the regular season. It's a long season. but it's short to some if you put yourself out there. But the next time you play against the Bengals, bro, come on, make the simple plays, man. You got dudes wide open all over the field, and you trying to force the ball or squeeze the ball here and there, trying to show up Joe Burrow, man. Like, get out of your head and just play your game. Um, you got one of the better teams, and I wouldn't mind seeing a Cowboy Chiefs Super Bowl, you know, or a replay of way back when it was Dallas and Buffalo. But I don't think Buffalo's gonna make it. I think everybody was so hype on Buffalo that I don't think Buffalo gonna make it to the Super Bowl. But it's too early to start talking about that. We'll have to see. It's still 5 weeks of the season left, so I don't want to get way ahead. But like I said, watch out for the Bucs though. And also, um, before I get out of here, another shout out to Sports for America. Thanks for putting me on. Remember, it's the People's Coach, yours truly, Cornelius Cole. You can check me out on the Sim Show as the Stimulate Your Mind show every Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Or you can follow me at thesimshow.com. That's DASYM show.com. Also, another shout out to Nerd Focus. Get your brain right and your game tight with the Nerd Focus energy drink. Um, and as I get ready to get out of here, looking forward to another great week of the NFL. Tonight, Julius Randle getting a standing O. He just dropped, he got 34 points and 17 rebounds. Do your thing, young man. Speaking of that, Anthony Davis is 50-something points and 20 rebound game. Man, that was impressive. I mean, that's thugging it out. That's doing your thing. That's playing some ball right there. It's good to see in a time where big men don't get a lot of light for, rebounding. Remember when rebounding was a huge deal? You don't even hardly hear the announcers talking about the great rebounders of the game these days because it's not that many. Um, Lots of tipping the ball, you know, but those that could put up the triple doubles like the Luca. Luca's a great rebounder, and I think that's something that nobody really mentions too much. Uh, Jokic is a good rebounder. You got some good rebounders in the game, and Anthony Davis could be the best, man. I think he could average 15 for a season if he's healthy. He could Kevin Love it. Remember when Kevin Love back in the days, he was 14, 15 rebounds a night, which I don't know was jump started Kevin Love and what's gotten into him to play the way he's been playing this year. But good for Kevin Love. Maybe he's finally healthy, or maybe he realizing this is it. And if he wants to fit in with these guys, maybe the rejuvenation of that team trying to win again has inspired him. I don't know, but some things to look at. So next week we'll be back and we'll be more NFL, more NBA, more college sports. Also, uh, remember, um, sports is always something that we can do, watch, enjoy, and it helps spread love. I think a lot of times that's what we need uh, instead of all of this hate. I'm never hating on this show. I'm only just giving my opinions as a diehard fan. Yours truly, the People's Coach, Cornelius Cole. Y'all have a great night.